Hey everyone, I hope you had a great day. Today we are looking at some new malicious compliance stories. I hope you enjoy them. The first story is called Mr. Engineer Knows Best. A few years ago I worked in the electrical department of a big box home improvement store. At that time I was in my mid-40s, female, and had been with the company for about 15 years. I also had worked in construction before being hired there, and had helped my dad build a couple of houses. I didn't have a background in electrical, but over the years had asked a ton of questions of the electricians who shopped there and did a bunch of research my own. So I was fairly well versed in basic knowledge and knew the products we carried and how to use them. One day in struts Mr. I'm an engineer with his doting wife on his arm. I am the only one in the department and I'm working through customers as best as I can. Everyone is fairly patient and in good humor. Finally, I get to Mr. Important and he proceeds to ask me some technical type questions regarding wire sizes and conduit fittings. His questions reveal that he knows less than he thinks he does. So I asked him for clarification so I can get him what he needs. He puffs up his chest and insists that he knows what he's doing and to just find him the non-existent product. The 3 or 4 other customers in the aisle have now edged closer and are enjoying the exchange. Mr. Important then says the magic words. Is there a man I can talk to? Of course. Just give me a minute to get someone for you. I walk out of the department, find the nearest young male lot associate, tell him what's up and send him off to help the VIP. I call the assistant manager for backup for the young man and go on my break. The assistant manager took me aside when I got back to gently chide me for my actions. Apparently the lot guy shows up and tells the customer that he knows nothing about electrical, and when I get back from break he will ask me since I am the most knowledgeable person in the department. A customer who witnessed the exchange, who was a regular, tells Mr. VIP that he is an idiot and that said part doesn't exist. And that what he wants to do is against local code. Which is what I told him to begin with, minus the idiot part. The VIP stumps out in a huff and his adoring wife was following behind. The next story is called No Knocking. I work for a parcel delivery company in Australia. I often get special requests from my customers for how to handle delivery to their addresses. They are usually really polite about it, so I try my best to help them out a bit. Today, after knocking on her door, it was promptly answered by a Karen who was not happy. You see, she was sitting rather close to the door and my knock had scared her. No big deal. It happens sometimes and we usually laugh it off. But Karen immediately proceeded to berate me on how terrible of a person I am for having knocked so loud when she was sitting so close. As if I am supposed to know where she is in her house. If she was polite, I might have tried to work something out, and I still tried the diplomatic approach of apologizing and moving on. But she simply got louder and angrier. So loud that the neighbor came out to see what the commotion was. She ended up demanding my name and telling me she would be lodging a complaint about me. When I finished my shift, I was informed by my boss that the complaint had indeed been lodged. What I hadn't expected was that the neighbor had also called in to stand up for me and say that I had been verbally abused by Karen. My company has recently taken out a zero-tolerance policy on abuse towards staff. Because of Karen's outburst, we have all been instructed to ensure no one knocks on Karen's door too loud. In other words, we are never to deliver to her house again. We are the only delivery company that serves her area, and she is a heavy online shopper. This is exactly how businesses should stand to their employees. Helping them with policies and not making life worse for them. What do you think? And the neighbor is also great for standing up for this delivery guy. I hope you enjoyed today's video so far. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. And please don't forget to press the like button. It really helps. And now, on to the next story. The last story is called You Want Me to Follow Your Special Policy? This happened a few years ago. I had just started teaching after finishing graduate school. One of the co-chairs for my department, and my high school science teacher, was on a major power trip. And because I was the new guy, I guess she decided I would be an easy target. The thing that finally pushed me over the edge was when she told me that under no circumstances was I allowed to talk to any teacher in the building unless they taught the same subject I did. As someone who was just starting out and needed all the help I could get, this seemed like a problem. But it actually turned out to be one of the best things that happened while I was working there. Now, not only was her order totally unenforceable, it was also a major breach of district and school policy. And for any of you who have worked in education, you understand how a school district tends to react to things like that. But rather than report it immediately to my assistant principal, I decided to bid my time, use my department's chair's own words to destroy her. And so begins my evil plan. As a beginning teacher, I was required to submit weekly lesson plans to my assistant principal and the department chair. At the beginning of the year, I had emailed him to ask if I needed both co-chairs to sign off on the plans. Since we all had different schedules, I was worried I wouldn't get them back in time to make changes if they were needed. He wrote back saying that as long as he and at least one of the chairs signed off, there were no problems. With that email in hand, I had everything I needed. I continued submitting my lesson plans to him and the other department chair as I had been, but took the other's name off the emails. My lessons continued getting approved and everything was fine for a month or two. Then I get a call to report to the assistant principal's office because he needs to speak with me. I walk in and there she is, standing next to his desk with a smug smirk on her face. Before the assistant principal, who we both report to, can say anything, she starts demanding to know why I haven't been submitting my lesson plans. And she insists that he writes me up and take disciplinary action immediately for my failure to follow policy. He tells her that I have been submitting all of my lesson plans on time and puts them up on his computer to show her the email chain between us. She turns to me, her face turning redder and redder. I thought that vein bulging in her forehead was going to burst. And then I demand you write him up for not communicating his lessons with me as per policy. I'm the department chair. And that's when I made my move. As innocently as can be, I say, but I don't understand the problem. I did exactly what she told me to. She looked like she was about to have a stroke. In her best, I want to see your manager voice, she says, and when exactly did I tell you not to send your lessons to me? I was still ignoring her and as calm and respectful as can be. Well, I was told that I was only allowed to speak to teachers that teach the same subject I do. I teach biology, and so does the department chair I've been submitting lesson plans to. My other department chair teaches earth science, which isn't my subject. So it was my understanding that I wasn't supposed to talk to her. For a full 10 seconds, you could have heard a pin drop in that room. Both of their jaws dropped. The assistant principal was the first to recover. He turned to her and said, "Sounds to me like he followed your instruction to the letter. Instructions that you and I are going to have a serious talk about." She goes white, realizing how much trouble she's in. At this point, both I and the assistant principal are trying desperately not to start laughing. She warns on me. "Why, you little..." I cut her off. "I'm sorry, but I'm not supposed to talk to you." She screams like a banshee and storms out of the office. My assistant principal is laughing so hard he can barely breathe, and I go and have my lunch. But she did get her wish. There was disciplinary action taken. After the violation of policy and storming out of the office, which caused a scene in front of several parents and students, she was removed as the department chair. She lost her authority and the extra pay that came with it. I was brought homemade muffins and thank you cards from the rest of the department for getting us all out from under that witch. And you know, I never did bother to ask if I was allowed to talk to her after that. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like. And if you want to see more videos, don't forget to subscribe. Have a great day and stay safe. Bye bye.